Welcome to United Network News, the official news channel for CARE, the Center for Amity and Restoration of Earth. I'm Sunny Galt. At UNN, you get the real news. Through our field messengers, we show you the truth about what's really taking place in our communities. We also bring you stories to help you remember who you are and why you're here, as well as regional stories that impact the people. And our World Situation Report reveals what's happening throughout the multiverse. We are here to restore Earth. In the U.S., it is Wednesday, May 8th, 2024. We're traveling to an Italian province to learn more about Calen, a time when the community comes together in costume to compete in medieval sports. And a popular winter pastime is back in Norway. These brave souls are going for a dip in freezing temperatures. Learn more about winter bathing and its potential health benefits. Our children are here to help us in the restoration of our planet, and there's something important that we can do to help them in the process. Southern Brazil is experiencing major flooding, taking lives and displacing thousands of people. And the European Union adopts new legislation to combat violence against women.
This is Calen Giff, messenger for United Network News. Here's a look at today's field messenger reports from all around the world. Today we visit an Italian province to learn about a medieval sports day called Calen. UNN field messenger Toni explains how the local districts compete against each other while wearing medieval costumes. Hundreds of locals of all ages are involved in the activities.
Hello. This is Toni, reporting from Cataldo, Italy, for United Network News. Cataldo, a small town near Florence, Italy, is famous for two things: Giovanni Boccaccio, a medieval novelist, and the local product of excellence, Cataldo onions. Calen, usually held on a Sunday in September, is like a medieval sports day. All the contestants, plus their official supporters, like lords, ladies, judges, noblemen and women, and more. On arrival, they process to their allocated base camp. There are up to 200 men, women and children in costume, all choreographed very precisely. The 5 games were Knights of Sand, where a team fills 6 bags of sand. The water carrier game for children is a relay race to transfer buckets of water to an 11-gallon container. In hearts of the ladies, coloured paper hearts are clipped to ribbons suspended from a round frame. Teams of 3 sets of 3, 1 lady and 2 porters. The lady must pluck a suspended heart, place it on a disc supported by a long stick, then she is carried round the course by the 2 porters. The cart game involves assembling an old-fashioned cart, placing a bale of hay on it and racing round the square avoiding obstacles. Onions are loaded into a round flat basket, which is placed on top of the hay bale and raced around the square again. The team that loses the least onions wins. This is Toni in Cataldo, Italy, for United Network News.
In Norway, winter bathing is embraced for its health benefits. UNN field messenger Susan shows us this practice and explains how it can boost immunity, improve circulation, and lift your mood.
Hello, I'm Susan and I'm from Sweden, but right now I'm in Norway. And winter swimming has become very popular. Here in Oslo there are many saunas in the city open to the public by the fjord. It might look like a sunny day, but the water is only 5 degrees Celsius or 40 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's cold. So where are you from?
I'm from Dublin in Ireland.
And what do you enjoy about swimming?
It clears your mind, good for a hangover, makes you feel super fresh.
And how cold would you say it is?
Cold, but each time you can go for longer.
Okay.
What's your name? Helena.
Embrace the chill or shiver at the thought. Cold bathing, a century-old practice that has once again become popular. But is it worth the frosty plunge? Winter bathers taught its benefits, enhanced circulation and immunity, and a natural mood boost. A dip in icy waters may shock the system, yet for many it's an unmatched way to jumpstart the day, leaving them feeling rejuvenated and ready to conquer.
What are your expectations? Actually, I was expecting to be a bit worse. Not so bad.
Okay, get in, ladies.
And this is my stepfather.
The cold water can prompt blood vessels to contract, impeding blood flow. This poses risks, especially for those with cardiovascular issues or high blood pressure. Diabetics should also approach ice baths with caution. Therefore, it's wise to ease into this practice gradually. So, if you're considering this chilly habit, take it slow and listen to your body's cues. So this is Susan reporting from Oslo for UNN.
We want you to become a UNN field messenger. These are everyday people just like you who want to make a difference in their community. You don't need any special training or equipment. Just use the camera on your mobile phone and show us what's happening in your area. You send us your videos and our production team will create the report for you. Our new website is now up and running at unitednetwork.earth. You can submit your Field Messenger reports directly through the Field Messenger tab at the top of the page. You can also email your reports to our new email address at fieldmessenger@unitednetwork.earth.
Hey, I'm Kirsten from Switzerland.
This is Wayne from Tucson.
Hi, my name is Desmond from Ghana.
I am Claudia from Dawsonville, Georgia.
I'm Mikey from Pretoria, South Africa.
Hi, I'm Steve McGrath, Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada.
People from all around the world are coming together.
Happy day, beautiful world. We are here in a rather small urban garden, and this video is just to show you the joys that we've had in this garden with electric gardening.
When news happens in their area, they show us what's really going on.
We have people in the streets protesting for and against.
At United Network News, our field messengers are changing the face of news.
This is Field Messenger Helen reporting with nature, and I'm going to talk to you about the bees again.
Take the next step in restoring our planet. Become a UNN Field Messenger today.
Hi, I'm Stephanie from South Africa. If it's going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to me.
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 It's up to all of us. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news.
Transitioning to the new Earth isn't something that humanity does alone. We have lots of help, including our children who have already been wired for this new expansive way of living. Our children recognize they are primarily spirit, having a human experience. And one of the best things we can do as parents and caregivers is to help them remember the importance of their spirit and its connection to the body. Allison Ellsbury is a former occupational therapist who is here to assist babies and children to anchor their light on Earth while deepening their connection to nature and the divine. So Allison is back with us, and we're talking about our children and the incredible gifts that they have. And Allison, we talked about this in the last video that we did, and that is the importance of your child being aware of their body and connected to their body in order to express their gifts. So let's talk about this a little bit more. Why is that so important?
Yeah, it's my favorite thing in the whole world to talk about.
Good.
So the reason this is so essential is because this is the foundation for children to thrive. So as a soul in a physical body, we actually wouldn't be here on this planet without having a physical space to have our consciousness live in, and for our gifts to have an avenue of expression to come out into the world. The awareness of having a body is so foundational to daily life and everything we do, be, and create, that it actually precedes social emotional learning, mindfulness, emotional intelligence, speech and language, and more. It's that important. And the reason it's so important as well is because the relationship that a child or any of us have between our soul and our body is the partnership of a lifetime. Meaning that sacred connection is the foundation to flourish and thrive with everything that we're here to share with the world. And
so,
yeah,
I was just going to say, quick question. When we say, you know, being aware of our body, I wanted to dive into that just a little bit more because, you know, I can look down. I'm aware I have a body. You know, I just wanted to clarify, what do we actually mean when we talk about that connection between the body and the soul?
Yeah, great question. So I actually like to call it body awareness. Okay. And it's the literal, physical, conscious awareness that as a soul, you chose to have a physical form to come into this world and be in. So it's literally the awareness of, I'm a soul and I have a physical space that sensation, emotion, experiences happen in. And so when we can actually help children have a conscious connection to their literal physical form, it really gives them that healthy foundation to really start to know, love, and trust what they're sensing and experiencing in this world. So it's even beyond, okay, looking down, yep, I have hands, or even naming a body part, like when kids in early development are like, yes, here are my eyes, here's my nose, here's my mouth. It's even beyond that. It's, okay, I know here are my eyes. What's my relationship to them? How do I feel when I connect with my eyes? It's having that space of consciousness. It's having that next level of awareness of, okay, this is everything that I've created to have my human experience in. And then helping kids navigate, what does this look like on a daily basis?
Do you find that there usually is a disconnect, at least with the kids and parents that you've spoken with?
Well, there's been a big disconnect for thousands of years between body and soul on this planet because we've been educated out of that connection with our body, especially through systems and structures of early child development, or even the way babies are birthed into the world, and even the way the traditional educational systems have been set up. The body is usually not part of our daily experience. It's not treated and honored as sacred. It's not given the reflection that, hey, you know, the body's an actual meaningful part of our daily existence, and we need to act like it matters. So there hasn't been a whole lot of role modeling or reflection through other systems and structures that actually give that the reverence that it actually deserves.
Yeah. And I would imagine the younger that can take place, the better. Is that accurate?
100%. So the sooner that we can really be engaging and connecting with children and opening that dialogue in the home and in their learning environments, the better. And particularly even before we start to focus on emotional intelligence, social emotional learning, and mindfulness, because kids need to have that understanding of, here's my body, here's where it is, here's how it moves, here's how I feel in it, and oh, I actually have sensation, I have a space that all of this happens in. Because for kids to actually connect with their emotions, connect with whatever they're experiencing in their daily life, when they're connecting with others, relating with others, there needs to be an awareness of body first. And this is my experience of what's going on. It's that foundational to all forms of relationship.
Invisible Cities is a creative project in the UK that turns former homeless people into tour guides for their cities. This organization doesn't stop at training. It broadens their horizons by teaching public speaking, customer service, and IT skills. There's also financial support available for those wishing to further their education or start their own business. The tours offered are unique, providing a fresh perspective on the city's social history, celebrated women, or protest culture through the eyes of those who have lived on the streets. It's available in 7 UK cities, including Cardiff, Edinburgh, and York. Charging up to £15, which is around $19 per tour, the income supports both the guides and the continued work of the organization. In a bid to expand its reach and impact, Invisible Cities uses a social franchise model, working together with other organizations focused on homelessness. This initiative proves that tourism can be a force for social change, offering new beginnings for the trained guides. In Kenya, a significant environmental program involves 17,000 smallholder farmers who are transitioning from traditional farming methods to creating forest gardens. This initiative aims to combat deforestation and restore degraded lands. The farmers are offered training, seeds, and financial aid to assist with the planting of a large number of new trees, including a variety of species. These forest gardens are intended to be self-sustainable ecosystems featuring spaces for growing fruits and vegetables. Targeting environmental restoration, this initiative also promises a boost in the farmers' incomes through the sale of surplus produce. The program is being praised for its simplicity and sustainability, highlighting a positive step towards ecological recovery and economic improvement for the local communities involved. Avocados are a versatile and essential health food celebrated globally for their numerous health benefits. Rich in monounsaturated fats, avocados contribute to heart health by improving overall cholesterol levels. They are rich in nutrients, including potassium. They support blood pressure regulation and fiber, aiding in digestion and weight management. Avocados are full of antioxidants that combat inflammation, and their high content of vitamin C and E, plus natural plant chemicals, may help reduce the risk of chronic diseases. The presence of healthy fats in avocados enhances the absorption of other beneficial fat-soluble vitamins, making it a perfect companion to vegetable-rich meals. To maintain cognitive function, avocados offer omega-3 fatty acids and vitamin E, known to support brain health. Integrating avocados into daily meals can be a delightful way to boost your overall wellness with a touch of creamy, nutritious goodness. We are United Network News. Every day, we release real stories from real people all over the world.
Field Messenger reporting from Gold Coast, Australia,
Denmark,
Canada,
Uganda,
from Atlanta, in Southern California.
In their own words, people like you share what's really happening in their area. At UNN, you are the news. You are creating a new world with infinite possibilities. You are the restoration plan. Come join us for the real news every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, only on United Network. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news. The devastating floods in southern Brazil during the past week have claimed the lives of at least 75 individuals and left more than 103 missing. In response to the destructive weather, which displaced more than 88,000 people, many have sought refuge in temporary shelters such as schools and gymnasiums. The state has suffered extensive damage, including landslides and the destruction of infrastructure, leaving many without essential services. Approximately 800,000 residents are now without access to a water supply, highlighting the urgent need for aid and recovery efforts. The situation is aggravated by the climate phenomenon El Nino, contributing to extreme weather conditions facing the region. In Argentina, the government's censorship of Telesur, a media outlet known for its dissident voices, has sparked concerns over freedom of expression and the right to information. This move is seen as part of a broader attack on democratic principles, including cutting pensions and public salaries, which deepens the poverty affecting millions. The decision to restrict Telesur's operations is criticized for undermining the diversity of opinion essential for a healthy democratic society. Critics argue such actions stifle dissenting opinions and hinder the populace from forming sovereign thoughts, affecting areas beyond media, including public education and social welfare. Telesur vows to continue its mission despite these challenges, aiming to strengthen the bond among nations in the region through its multi-platform presence. China's top 5 banks need to raise nearly $900 billion by January 2028 to meet global financial stability rules, affecting millions of customers and investors. These key institutions must increase their ability to absorb financial losses without using taxpayer money, which will require them to issue new debts. This could lead to higher service fees and loan interest rates to keep profits up. For ordinary people, this means potential shifts in the economic environment, possibly leading to higher lending rates and affecting loan availability. This impacts those aiming to buy homes or start businesses and could influence consumer spending. As these banks seek to meet these regulations amid a slowing property market and the push for green energy, the effects could spread across the economy, affecting millions in China. In Iran, the once thriving Persian rug industry has hit a historic low following renewed U.S. sanctions and a significant drop in tourism. Traditionally, Persian rugs have been a symbol of cultural heritage and a significant source of income, attracting buyers worldwide. However, the industry's exports have plummeted from more than $2 billion 2 decades ago to less than $50 million in the past year. This decline has drastically affected the lives of local weavers, with many now earning as little as $4 a day. The situation is worsened by the falling Iranian currency and the inability to make international transactions easily, leaving weavers and shop owners struggling to sustain their businesses. The scarcity of tourists and the challenges in accepting foreign payments have further strained the market. The impact of these economic pressures is profound on the artisans' livelihoods and the preservation of this intangible cultural heritage. Farmers in Uzbekistan face severe issues with soil and water salinity, significantly reducing crop yields and threatening their livelihoods. Despite government efforts, including subsidies to upgrade irrigation, farmers report a lack of direct support and practical advice, hindering progress. There's an urgent need for training to adopt salt-tolerant farming practices effectively. This is critical as Uzbekistan is a major exporter of cotton and wheat, mainly to Bangladesh and Afghanistan. Cotton production and exports to Bangladesh have plummeted, affecting the regional economy. Initiatives like testing salt-tolerant wheat varieties show promise, but researchers highlight the obstacles of time and limited funding. In Nairobi, Kenya, students and teachers at Dandora Secondary School, located beside the country's largest dump site, are experiencing severe health issues due to polluted air. The dump site was declared full 2 decades ago, yet it continues to receive approximately 2,000 tons of waste daily, severely affecting the surrounding neighborhood. The pollution has been linked to a spike in respiratory diseases in the school community, including prevalent cases of asthma. To reduce this, the school has initiated a bamboo planting project with more than 100 bamboo seedlings already planted. Bamboo is known for its rapid growth and air purification properties and is expected to create a natural barrier against polluted air, reducing respiratory illnesses in the Dandara community. Additionally, the school has planted more than 4,000 trees to improve air quality. The European Union, or EU, has officially adopted a new legislation aimed at combating violence against women, marking a significant step in protecting women's rights within the bloc. This new law addresses gender-based violence, including forced marriages, female genital mutilation, and cyber violence. It introduces stringent penalties for offenders, such as jail sentences of up to 5 years, with even harsher punishments for crimes against children and others. Critics, however, have highlighted the law's failure to establish a common EU definition of rape, a point of contention amongst member states. Despite these challenges, the law is celebrated as an important moment for women's rights, striving to create a safer environment where women can live free from fear and harm. Member states have been given 3 years to implement these rules into national law. Freelance workers from France's film industry, under the banner of Broke Behind the Screens, are set to strike during the Cannes Film Festival next week. This rare decision aims to spotlight the deteriorating working conditions in the sector. The workers' action includes up to 200 members involved in various festival roles. It seeks to disturb the event, to demand better labor protections and adherence to a collective agreement, ensuring benefits for contractors during unemployment periods. This strike surfaces amid concerns over diminishing benefits due to government reforms, potentially forcing many out of their careers. Negotiations have stalled, pushing workers to leverage Cannes' global platform for their cause. Festival organizers have called for dialogue to avert the strike, acknowledging the staff's challenges under the French unemployment insurance plan reform. The rise in artificial intelligence, or AI, in photography is causing worry amongst traditional photographers all over the world who fear it may affect their jobs. Stock photography agencies are facing decreased demand, with image licensing pricing dropping dramatically. This change has pushed many photographers out of the industry, leading some to explore new ventures like YouTube channels or publishing. However, major stock photo companies argue that AI-generated images lack the authenticity consumers want. They stress the continuous need for real photos, especially for new technologies or current events. Companies like Adobe are integrating AI to help photographers enhance and diversify their portfolios. Yet the debate remains on how soon AI will be able to fully replicate human creativity, making the future of stock photography uncertain. Australian students from various sectors are worried following the government's announcement of a new payment plan for those on mandatory placements or internships. This policy has raised concerns over placement poverty. Students face financial struggles to meet course requirements, often resulting in poor living conditions and considering dropping out. The Australian Medical Students Association highlighted the specific challenges for medical students not included in the plan. They noted these difficulties hit students from less affluent backgrounds the hardest, risking the diversity of the medical field. Despite claims of addressing student issues, many feel the initiative doesn't significantly lessen the cost of living crisis students face. Also in Australia, a Senate inquiry has suggested heavy fines for major supermarkets like Coles and Woolworths if they mistreat suppliers. This comes as a response to the rising cost of living crisis. The inquiry highlighted the gap between what farmers earn and what consumers pay, criticizing the supermarket's market dominance. Although breaking up supermarket monopolies wasn't agreed upon, the committee recommended making voluntary codes between suppliers and supermarkets mandatory, with strict penalties for breaches. This move aims to reduce supermarket profit-taking and ensure fair treatment of suppliers. With growing concerns over high food prices and supplier pressures, the report reveals the struggles of farmers and the wider impact on the Australian families, as well as the economy. The recommendations seek to create a fairer, more competitive market, potentially lowering costs for consumers. In communities across Australia, people are facing a difficult choice between heating their homes and affording basic necessities. Due to soaring energy costs, many, especially those on disability support, face the chilling reality of winter with minimal protection against the cold. Temperatures dropping below zero and rising electricity bills have led to a concerning increase in emergency assistance demands. Agencies indicate a crisis point, with families forced to prioritize basic essentials such as food, rent, or electricity. Some have resorted to burning unsuitable materials for warmth due to escalating firewood prices, further emphasizing the struggle against cold and financial hardship. Community support plays a critical role in aiding those affected, highlighting the ongoing challenge of affordable heating in adverse weather conditions. Tire pollution concerns in the U.S. have led to regulatory actions and the search for safer alternatives. The Environmental Protection Agency and California state agencies are looking into new regulations to mitigate the toxic effects of chemicals in tires linked to coho salmon deaths in the Northwest. The York tribe and other Native American groups are advocating for a ban on these substances to protect fish populations and their cultural heritage. Researchers point out the health risks from tire particles, a major source of air and water pollution. This pollution adds to the ocean's microplastic problem, most of which comes from tire rubber, and threatens human health. Studies link these particles to heart and lung conditions and possibly cancer. People living or working near busy roads face higher exposure to these toxins, with low-income communities at greater risk. Governments worldwide are struggling with falling fuel tax revenues as electric vehicles, or EVs, become more popular. In 2035, the shift to EVs could erase $110 billion in global fuel tax income, and countries are responding. In the U.S., states have implemented annual registration fees for EVs, complicating the financial incentives for potential buyers. New Zealand and Israel are introducing road use charges for EV owners, sparking debate over the fairness of such policies. In New Zealand, EV and hybrid vehicle owners now face charges based on distance traveled, with officials arguing it ensures all motorists contribute to road maintenance. However, EV advocates criticize these measures, fearing they will deter people from adopting cleaner transportation options. The Boy Scouts of America, a century-old organization, announced a name change to Scouting America by February 8th, 2025. This rebranding reflects the organization's commitment to inclusivity, following its emergence from bankruptcy triggered by a surge in sexual abuse claims. During recent years, the group has made significant changes to its policies, including the admission of gay youths and adults and welcoming of girls into its ranks. These moves have been part of a broader effort to boost declining membership numbers. The reorganization plan aims to compensate more than 80,000 men who reported childhood sexual abuse within the program.
Tired of being programmed? At United Network, you'll discover the truth about what's really happening on our planet. Get instant access to our written news, UNN newscasts, world situation reports, and in-depth stories from our field messengers. Manifest your amazing abilities as we explore the new Earth. plus original series to inspire and encourage you throughout your day. Get connected through United Chat, our personal chat room where you can join the conversation, share your experience, and also submit your questions for Kim. Watch United Network at home or on the go through your computer, favorite online streaming program, or mobile apps.
Welcome to United Network News.
Start your free trial today. UnitedNetwork.Earth, bringing people together.
And now, the World Situation Report with Kimberly Gogan from the Office of the Guardian. Doomsday protocols went into effect this morning in the USA and around the world. The deep state is being hunted down by freelancers and operatives after last night's massive failure. Everyone received vouchers and IOUs that came due early today. Bank for International Settlements and the Treasury are now trying to launder money for the Boko Haram, a Western African terrorist group, as desperation sets in. Okay. Now here's Kimberly Gogan with the Office of the Guardian. Hello, Kim.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. How are things going today?
And happy day after the new moon day.
Oh, yeah. I never pay attention to that stuff, but yeah, for what you're doing, absolutely. That's a big deal.
So I can tell you a little bit more about what's been happening behind the scenes with the deep state.
Okay.
Because it was all supposed to come to fruition this morning. And I know there were some things you asked me about, and I said, well, I prefer not to say. Mm-hmm. So I didn't.
Right.
But now I can start talking about it a little bit more, at least the part that's already underway.
Okay.
And the events of the last 24 hours. So as you know, the deep state was desperately hunting for some kind of an Omega backup system that they thought was going to go into effect last night. Of course, always during a new moon, full moon, during the flux new moon, I guess. Maybe they thought they had it. But alas, nothing happened by yesterday afternoon, and this left them kind of in a panic, and more so because there was a second part that had been going on for a couple of weeks now, and I thought I'd share it with you now because then they know now that I know, which is important. Okay, if you've been kind of around for a while, you've probably seen a lot of documentation online about the Committee of 300.
Oh, yeah.
And some of these documents show like a long list. They're about 100 pages long or so. They show a long list of banks worldwide that they allegedly control with large numbers beside them. Now, these documents are kind of well known. They've been spread all over the internet. So if not, then I will go ahead and I'll post it in community chat so you can take a look at it, just so you know what I'm talking about. And in part, the Committee of 300 allegedly claims, based on these documents, that they control the holding companies of all of these banking institutions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to some degree, holding companies also had an operating system of their own. So I spent several hours the other day kind of preparing for what I saw coming. Because all operating systems were kind of alpha omega dual operating systems, what we've been doing is we've been converting these to alpha harmonic genesis operating systems, therefore eliminating any view from omega. So these accounts, although they didn't hold any real money in them because they had no allocation numbers, you could still see the holding companies within the financial system at the higher levels.
Mm-hmm.
And by higher levels, I'm meaning family levels and above government levels, those kinds of places. So someone which claimed to be, and I still don't know quite who this person is in their name, who claimed to be a descendant of the Committee of 300 heir of something or other, decides that he's going to take all of these accounts, show them to countries, and explained to them that on the 7th, these accounts would then go live and become active. So they began issuing a tremendous amount of vouchers to various people, IOUs, if you will. And by people, I don't mean like you and I mean like the royal family of Saudi Arabia, some terrorist organizations throughout the Middle East. They issued them to militaries. They issued them in a lot of different places. And so I've kind of been watching this as the new currency of the deep state, you know, always going to be good at a day ending in Y in the future. And that night was last night. They also have tried doing some business, I should say again, with a group called the Boko Haram in Africa. So they pretty much operate mostly in Western Africa. They have a lot of cash, actual physical cash, and a lot of it is super notes. And they've been unable to launder that money into the system since the shutdown a few years back by yours truly of a United Nations black site in Kenya. So they were happily laundering their money for decades now through this United Nations facility in Kenya until it was shut down, probably about 2 or 3 years ago now. And so the Treasury Department and the Bank for International Settlements thought that they would help them out and figured they could use allocation numbers from all of their stacks of cash to legitimize some of this money that is on off-ledger accounts in these holding company accounts. Well, so, you know, we watched them try to set it up. They also tried to use these holding company accounts for their new digital currency system, which they tried again to relaunch yesterday. There was a large meeting going on at the Bank for International Settlements yesterday with the global headquarters folks and some military people worldwide trying to get the system up and running based on these accounts that are just basically numbers on a computer screen. So that failed miserably. And by late afternoon yesterday, everybody kind of started to panic. Now, they worked all night long. God bless their souls. They worked so hard last night to try to make all of these scams work for them. They brought people in from the U.S. Treasury, you know, to go to different locations around the world. They, you know, they really thought they had it. But we were prepared for this untenuous situation because we had been watching it for a while. And the one thing you always want to use in warfare is the element of surprise. You never show your hand. You never tell them what you're going to do. You don't, you know, we might load things behind the scenes, programs and those types of things set to go off at a certain time or day based on what we expect to happen. Now, based on the fact that this did not work out, we figured by, very early morning Eastern Standard Time today, everybody would be in a full-on panic by then. Now, due to the fact global headquarters are predominantly based in the United States, we figured since they worked all night, that we would probably set this to go off sometime around 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time this morning, because then they'll probably be getting up, you know, after a long night of zero accomplishment. So we set off the following things to go off at this specific time. So every single one of those banks listed on the documents, and there are hundreds listed on there, we set it off to take over all of the holding companies' operating systems starting at 7 a.m. this morning. Not only that, we also made sure at the same time when we took them over, and they're now listed as under the Office of the Guardian, we zeroed out every single one of the accounts.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. At the same time, we also shut down the base platform for militaries worldwide, intelligence worldwide, NATO, the base back-end platform for internet security. Now, we are now running on our VTN, or virtual trusted network, which is a little bit more secure than a VPN, if you're familiar with the term. We also shut down all treasury systems, everything everybody has on the front end from the base platform. So we have not been slacking in any way, but we set all these events to go off one after the other. So basically, anything that they have as far as deep state is concerned, and unfortunately governments are concerned, are now pretty much shut down. They have no eyes and ears. Then we proceeded to finish off the financial system with backbones of tax authorities and other types of things. So everybody's having database problems this morning because, you know, we've kind of come to the conclusion that governments aren't really doing anything. They're just kind of a tool in the toolbox for the deep state. They're not helping the people any, you know, this isn't really working out. We've given them hundreds of chances to come forward and have a conversation with us. Nobody wants to. And then there's always this line of buying time to the next new moon, full moon, you name it. The next location I hear they're all going to try this in is on the full moon, 2 weeks from yesterday. And they'll be going to Malaysia this time. So I know, God bless them, right?
Yeah.
And none of this is going to work. So the lies had to end. So by zeroing out the holding companies, that doesn't affect you in any way, shape, or form. This is all these genetic shareholders, alleged bank assets that they never had, leverage against your deeds. For example, if you get a mortgage on your house, they get 25 times, 100 times. This is the source of all the high yield trade programs that they do with governments. And, you know, you see it kind of in the broker world, you know, where you can get 800 times in like so many days. And you've probably seen medium-term notes, you know, coming around from the World Bank or those types of things. These are the programs that I'm talking about that used to run on these types of accounts. You know, also a lot of wars were funded from them, off-market trading, credit lines, these types of things. But as of this morning, everything pretty much erupted into a giant zero. Zero communication lines, zero access, zero ownership over the financial system anymore, no ability to hide it anymore. And we have a few more steps yet to go, but we do not want to tell them about it ahead of time. So this is a strategy to whereby they got caught completely off guard. Not only that, those vouchers weren't good. So they're getting it from me on every single level today, but they're also getting it not only from me, they're also getting a lot of, let's just say, problems and issues by people calling saying, hey, these accounts are zeroed out. Where's my voucher? Where's my money? You know, everything was supposed to be due today, you know, and of course that didn't work out. In addition to that, our Raymond Reddington crew that was hired by the cartels you asked me about the other day, we just call them the Raymond Reddingtons, and that's from the show Blacklist, in case you don't watch it. He's a fixer of freelancers. All their contracts went into effect, full force last night, and everybody went into a full-on panic.
What does that mean, Kim? Their contracts went into effect. What does that mean?
That means that they spent a lot of time hiring people and formulating a list, for lack of a better term, the blacklist.
The blacklist.
People that are lied, cheated, stole from them. People that keep playing the tomorrow game. Black nobility families. People within the governments, within militaries. There are some high-profile names on that list. And I'll leave it at that. You know, and they started hunting everybody down last night when they found out that their backup system kicking in did not work out. Yeah. Kind of started trickling in around 5 o'clock Eastern, and then it just got worse and worse and worse as the night went on. And then, of course, the exact time of the full moon was at 11 o'clock-ish, I think maybe 11 something last night, Eastern time. So by then, it was a full-on assault. Nobody was taking anybody's calls anymore. Nobody's listening to the next day ending in Y, and they launched it. So you have people running for the hills in a major way. They don't even know who they're under attack by. So based on us seeing that, we thought it was a great time to start that process this morning. So there's no going back from here, honestly. At this point, we are no way interested in talking to any of those people. This was it. We have several more steps to conclude over the next 24 to 48 hours as far as deep state takedowns now that we have the base platforms. It may or may not involve some media things. It may, I don't want to justify their existence, and I don't want to cause panic amongst regular humans that don't know what we're talking about. So we'll see what happens, but we have several more things that are definitely going to happen to them in the next couple of days. So we're hitting them high, we're hitting them low. We're watching the Raymond Reddington crew, seeing when they launched off. Then we started to launch off. We're not actually working together. I don't know those people. Maybe one day I will, but I don't at this moment. But it's just a coordinated effort. So you might as well ride on the back of what everybody else is doing and prepare for something that you can do on your side of it, to help the process along. So since this just started, literally the last 3-4 hours, we've just been hitting system after system after system after system, there with more yet to go today and tomorrow. I don't know the end result of it. I'm not expecting to negotiate with these people at this point. I'm not interested in any more lies, cheating, stealing, especially from all of you. They obviously were trying to tank a bank financial system with whatever it was that they were doing. A matter of fact, a call came in, not last night, it was actually the night before, from someone within the military who's kind of known to be not a bad person, but a person that's not willing to move in any direction, but he kind of makes comments here and there to us, and I'll just leave that to who that is. He's not on the list. And we had some chats about, there's going to be a financial system crash, and what are you going to do about it? And I said, well, even if I was going to do something about it, I'm certainly not going to tell you, especially not on your phone. So we've, there has been, everyone is on high alert as far as shutting down systems. When you shut down financial systems, we didn't shut down the financial system, so it functions for you. You can go to an ATM machine, you can walk into your bank, the bank's going to operate just fine. What we shut down was the back end platform for it. And that's where they usually try to commit the most amount of fraud. It's on a larger scale. The next thing, but we did actually shut down military's intelligence and NATO, and this is a worldwide outage situation everybody's facing today.
So is this like devastating? Like, how would you rank this? Like, if, on their side, like, how devastating is this for them is what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, the next thing that happens, let me kind of explain to you what happens after that, which we were also prepared for. The next thing that happens is what's called the doomsday protocol, or a doomsday system, which means that if there was a fictitious solar flare and it happened to be, take out electronics, that kind of thing, everything flips over to the doomsday system. And that's not only for the U.S., that's for the world, which happens to be run by the U.S. Underneath the White House and in Norfolk. So when I say flip over, it's basically a mirror. It mirrors the systems. It mirrors financial systems. It mirrors military and intelligence systems, so that they can be up and running not only in the doomsday bunkers, but also in like the doomsday plane. You've heard about the doomsday plane. So once that kicked in, it took just a few minutes to take it out. So then that went down. Then worldwide, there is another system that kicks in. And I know you're going to be so shocked and surprised when you hear about it. Now, this was not a human system. This was a system that was only accessible by the former owners of this planet. And the system was called X.
Oh, jeez. Of course it was.
Of course it was. Now, this is not something that our friendly X person, SpaceX, Disease X, other X, here an X, there an X, everywhere an XX, would have had access to. Although some of those systems were built upon a small section of the X platform, as permitted by the former owners of this planet a while back. Mm-hmm. So then, after the doomsday system went down, then X disappeared.
Okay.
In short order. Boom, 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 one after the other this morning, till there's no more backup systems for planet Earth. And the only system for planet Earth that will remain by the time all is said and done is the Alpha Harmonic Genesis system. So hopefully, I've gotten all the operating systems that I needed to get. There's also financial security systems, military security systems, which are, security equals control. So this is a deep state operation that intertwines with all military worldwide, all intelligence worldwide, all internet worldwide, all financial systems worldwide, all media systems worldwide. So it's kind of like the security aspect, but you could also call it another layer of control aspect as far as global security is concerned. So I think so far everything seems to be going well. Now the effects of this. Mm-hmm. You have everybody running around trying to find anything to log into anywhere. They obviously knew already last night that they were under attack, but thought that they could get their vouchers to work and a backup system to kick in order to pay out. Well, that didn't work. And then they thought they could use the doomsday system. That didn't work. Then they thought anybody that might have had a small amount of access to X, they thought that might work. So right now, as it stands as of the time of this broadcast, it looks like a full-on panic attack. Everybody's running for the hills, trying to find safe spots, that kind of thing. There's no way they're going to escape the Raymond Reddington crew for long.
So when we say they, mm-hmm. sometimes it's hard to know who they is. So we've got the Raymond Reddington crew. Who's they, the other side, that are running for the hills right now?
You would have various members of military, various members of the intelligence community. You would have Black nobility on that list, and their families are on that list. You would have global headquarters folks on that list. You'll have, Langley 5 is on that list. I know that. Most of the people that are running that show right now are on that list. There are some treasury people, government people, political people worldwide. It's not necessarily here in the U.S. This is a worldwide operation that has been meticulously planned. You have some United Nations people on there. You have United Nations security on there on the list. You have some Order of the Dragon family people that are on the list. You know, they all have continuously lied, and you've been hearing it firsthand. It gets boring, right? Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, it's boring, fairly boring. Um, but we expect to see some serious results. Now, are they going to come back with masked men or women? Maybe they'll try some. Maybe they'll try to delay announcing it in the media, like they have everybody else. That's possible. But chances are, if they're the ones that are trying to delay it for, say, a political agenda or an election agenda, with the promise of a huge position of power to each one of these individual operatives, you'll probably be gone too, because you've also been lying. Most of the SSP is on the list, remaining operatives that have been on the other side, not the ones that necessarily have worked. You have some members of the SSP that are kind of retired, let's just say, that are not active, and they think the other people are nuts. So they're not participating in this. You have other members that are actively participating every single day in this agenda, constantly. Round and round and round they go on a hamster wheel. Well, everybody wants to get off. We've even heard of some complaints coming from the archivists. They're like, we're the only planet in the multiverse that's still dealing with this. They're frustrated. Some of our visitors are frustrated. Some people that are not even visiting, that are from other places, that are still getting the reverb from this planet, are frustrated. And I, for one, have been extremely frustrated. And not so much with the deep state. Yes, I'm tired of the lies as well. I'm tired of them lying to all of you. I'm tired of them poisoning everything under the sun. I'm tired of them, spraying chemtrails just as much as you are. No matter how many things you take out, I don't know where they get it from. I don't know. Like, they just keep going. Why? I have no idea, because they have no hope of getting off that hamster wheel ever, except for death.
Yeah.
It's a frustrating experience. As frustrated as I am, I can only imagine how frustrated you are. And as much as I feel for you, I just can't stress to you enough. There's one human over here with a few friends that are trying to make all of this happen. And unfortunately, it's not like there's a magic unicorn race that's going to come here and just wipe away, everything that's wrong with this planet in a day. I wish there was. And if there is, and those people, please give them a call and invite them on in. We'll have a barbecue. But, but there isn't. Even Source, it's a co-creative process. It was always a co-creative process. And there's, other than all of you focusing on the positive things that we want to see, the change we want to see in the world, and then acting on those changes to the best of your ability right now, there really isn't a whole lot we can do, or you can do, to change it. Mm-hmm. Protecting yourself, protecting your family, doing the best you can, making sure you always have a garden or food if it's possible, those types of things, or at least a farmer. Get to know a farmer in your area, so that if you do need something, there's a place for you to go. But I can't imagine this continuing too much longer. Some of the other systems might be interested in hearing about in the last few days would be, for example, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Mm-hmm. Now, systems that focused more on corporate controls were based upon, number one, skimming 10% off the top of everything. That number went up as it relates to the food industry based on the pharmaceutical deal that was made a couple of years ago. But they skim off the top of every single one of their companies. if they received money from the World Bank or they are part of the deep state large corporations, which most all are, the large ones, they were skimming off. So, there were companies like Bacardi and Busch Beer, Anheuser-Busch, all of those large names, Pabst, whatever it's called these days. I don't even know what kind of beer you can buy. But most of those large companies all were connected to the same operating system. They could shut them down. They could shut down the manufacturing. They could put something in it from there using the operating system. So these are interesting developments. Same thing goes with firearms control, for us average everyday humans. And then, of course, we know the things that they put in tobacco, these days. So these are positive developments as far as the large corporations are concerned, because there is also a customs and tariff system in a World Trade Organization system, and all of their breaks and their discounts that they got were all listed in that system. Their cargo, there was shipping, it was all tied together, so they would know when deep state products were coming in and not to charge them customs. So, also, the rules, the abilities to change the rules for customs and tariffs worldwide are now accessible. So as far as the custom fees you pay, like if you're importing a product, from say the US to the UK, you probably have to pay a fee when it arrives at your door. Or if you are a small business, and you're trying to ship your products worldwide, shipping can be really expensive. Not only that, you add customs fees on top of that, and it's very expensive for the small business owner. So we now have the ability to change that without going through 9,000 World Trade Organization forums.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. So there's positive things that are coming out of all of this stuff too. So we're not only taking down, we're also rebuilding on our side of it. As far as bank ownerships and alleged vouchers and committee of 300 things, fake money, numbers on screens, eventually all these things will revert to CARE, but they have misused when we put the funds on deposit in Iraq and in the US. They misused CARE, the name CARE, and claimed they all were CARE, remember? So we have to be very careful of when we decide we're going to launch that phase. Right now, they're just zeroed out and under our name. So we have all the holding companies now, which are positive developments for us.
Sure.
But the war is on fire today, and it's not going to end, if you're watching this from the deep state, for several days to come. We're pulling everything apart.
Wow.
Yeah. There you go. There's your prefer not to say.
Well, yeah, it's good to know what's going on. Do you think any of this will come out in the media at all, or they're just going to keep a tight wraps on everything?
Well, we are going to see what transpires in a very short period of time as it relates to media. Now, you and I both know that most of that stuff is scripted, at least 24 to 48 hours ahead of time. So what you're hearing in the news was scripted 2 days ago. So within 48 hours, pretty much from now, we'll be able to get a general idea on how they're going to continue to mislead public opinion. Now, I hesitate on this aspect of it only from the standpoint of public panic. The normies, they get up in the morning and they watch Good Morning America. They watch the news, that kind of thing. They get the alerts on their phone from CNN and whoever they listen to, and it's become a part of their daily life and how they stay informed. They're listening to it on the drive to work or the drive home work on, satellite radio or Spotify or whatever, they're listening to on these days. Not many people listen to regular radio. It's usually satellite radio these days in the car, but There's, what if all that went away? How do we stop the lies? What do you think? I mean, you're a journalist, Sonny, you went to school there. I mean, we've got to think about public reaction and what people are going to do. We don't want people to panic. So we do have the broadcasting system, operating system, FCC, all of those we have had for several days now, which means we have the backbone for, every single network, starting from the top, Viacom, Ted Turner, all of them on down. So, what should we do at this point?
Yeah. It's tough because the white hats have been promoting this, whatever, their 10 days of darkness or whatever, and you don't want to feed into something that could help their narrative. That was the first thing I thought of. If you start taking stuff down, then on some level you're going to give them credit just because, and that still is a small group of the population that even knows what a white hat is. Right?
Red and purple.
Yes.
Hats.
Yes, exactly. But, at some point, I would have thought by now that a lot of those, and we have been reporting on a lot of media outlets going under or combining, and doing stuff like that. But we're also seeing a lot of stuff now with government suppressing media. So obviously they feel like they don't have the upper hand in a lot of areas, especially in like war-torn areas and things like that. So we do see a shift, what appears to be a shift, in people really wanting to report what's happening. So maybe some of that control structure, has been slipping away. Yeah.
Over the course of the last couple of years, we reported on a few things in our news. One of them being the floods in Australia. Remember that? We actually had footage of the alleged military over there. And I can pull these up again because I have them stored. We reported some footage where a person was recording with their phone all of the cameras and the military allegedly cleaning up after the floods and, putting stuff into a trailer to haul off and that kind of thing. But the point is they had an entire news crew there filming it.
Yeah.
And they weren't doing anything. It was just for show. It was, and they're having a hard time, especially since everybody has a cell phone now with, camera and video capabilities. They're having a hard time maintaining, their presence. Like, look how the Australian government is saving you from the flood. Then we had other incidents of video footage that was provided to us by Agent M from the Middle East, where they actually had camera crews setting up, and they were allegedly setting off missile strikes, which were there for camera purposes only, so that they could report it on the news.
I remember when you said that.
2 days later.
Yeah.
So we have that footage. We have footage. There's even plenty of footage on YouTube. People just don't look for it. There's plenty of people, Ukrainian citizens, that have gone to Kiev, at the height of the alleged attacks on Kiev, or Kyiv, however you want to say it. And you've got these barriers up. How, like, if you've ever been to an area of your country where they've been filming a movie, they kind of barricade off the whole area, and then they've got all these tents and things like that around as they're filming the movie. Well, that's what Kyiv looks like, or looked like at the alleged height of attacks when they were supposedly, according to the news, being bombed every single day. So,
there's just lies everywhere.
Yeah, it's just all a show anyway. And they're having a hard time keeping up with it.
Well, I was just thinking, it's hard to say what humanity is going to do. I don't know what humanity would do, but following along with what we have been promoting on UNN, with people telling their own stories of what is happening in their area. What if there was a way, I'm just kind of spitballing here, live on the news, let's just chat about this. If there was a way to limit or take down what we consider mainstream media, to take them down somehow so that they cannot broadcast, but still allowed for user-generated content to get out there. Because then I'm just thinking, how do we get the truth out there? And people start reporting. I mean, it's exactly what we're telling people to do for field messengers. Show us what's actually happening. But people are lazy and, they'll just watch whatever's on, mainstream. I don't think the deep state has enough people to keep up the lies in alternative media to combat what the public would naturally do. That's just my thought.
Yeah, and that's the whole theory behind what we're doing here is,
I know,
the more people get to see what's really happening in a specific area, the better it is for the world to understand that, a war is a movie. And I'm not saying that people don't die and that, our soldiers aren't killed, that type of thing. Of course they are. But, it's a lot of it is staged.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as they say. To create a political event.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying, if you take away the people that have been doing the staging, are you going to get still, some people just want to be famous on social media. So you're going to get misinformation still. But I think the majority of people would try to, pitch in, be like, well, we don't have that anymore. So let's go out. We all have these little phones. Let's just go out and tell people what's going on. I don't know. It's just so many people seem to still be in, even people I talk to, like my parents, they claim they don't watch mainstream media. But when they come out here and visit, I see them watching mainstream media. I'm like, you say you don't, but I see. So Fox News is still mainstream media, guys.
Well, but see, it was branded in mainstream media that it's not mainstream.
I know.
News,
exactly.
A few years ago.
Right. But if you took down those places that we consider mainstream media, I don't know. I think that's an interesting proposition, honestly. Let people start to tell their own stories. Let all the Rumbles and the YouTubes and all of that, it would get to be, they can't censor everybody. They really can't. So, what would happen at that point? What would happen if, just leave social media alone, let people do their thing, it's all the user generated content and social media. Let people tell the story. See what happens, it would wake some people up for sure,
Yeah. And no more fact checking.
No more fact checking. Get rid of those darn fact checkers.
You did not eat salmon last night for dinner. I know you said you did, but you didn't.
Yeah, right.
Makes you wonder how they fact checked that, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you're always going to have people that will make up a story. There was a video circulating around about this World Economic Forum alleged speech, and this actor kind of got up and he started saying, you guys are all full of it, and bleep bleep bleep, and it really looked like there was a speech at the World Economic Forum, where he was yelling at Klaus Schwab and all that, but it didn't happen. It was all just an act.
Yeah.
Done with green screen and putting up the whatever behind him in a podium and that kind of thing. So what is reliable? What is real? How do you get the real news out there without it being convoluted even by social media?
Mm-hmm.
Some people are more concerned with being popular than they are with putting out truthful information. Well, you've got one solution here, because see, people want to become an influencer, not so much because they personally need to feed their own ego. I mean, not all people, but a lot of times they do it because it's popular and they get X amount of views and then they get paid to promote products. Like some person said, I paid, $200 for a vacuum cleaner on Amazon, as an example. I went and made a TikTok video about the vacuum and how well it works and put a link to Amazon on there and made 4 times that much on my video because I reviewed the vacuum cleaner.
Right.
So it's become big business to promote products, and Matter of fact, like, even TikTok, what it was a year ago or 2 years ago, it's now a giant. I feel like you cannot get away from the feeling. This is my opinion, of watching the Generation Z version of the Home Shopping Network. Except I have average everyday people trying to sell me everything from a curling iron to a, you name it, like this kind of makeup and this kind of mascara and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, I wonder, if you didn't have the mainstream outlets, if that kind of content would change though, because, I don't think a lot of people feel like they can go toe to toe with what mainstream is talking about. So they talk about other things, products and whatever, but that becomes, not even secondary. That's way down on the list when suddenly, the main news is gone. I don't know. I think what we would see on user generated content feeds, I think that would change.
Yeah. Well, and then if the algorithms aren't manipulated and that kind of thing.
Yeah. And they don't have as much time to prepare. Like those influencers, take time to prepare those pieces and stuff, right? So
sure.
Yeah, that takes time. So getting stuff out there quickly means you don't have as much time to, fudge it, make it, whatever. Like if you were trying to spread misinformation, disinformation, well, you don't have a lot of time to do that. It takes 2 seconds for me to go out there with my camera and shoot what's happening on my street. If it takes a couple days for news to get out, then it's like, well, why didn't you report on this before? So I don't know.
Or you're second to the party. And maybe that's the key right there, Sunny. Maybe the key is to come up with a different type of incentivizing program to where, the first one with the breaking news story wins, or something like that, the highest payment for something, or, I don't know, maybe we can develop some kind of strategy around that. But one thing is for sure is that the way that we receive information has to change.
Sure.
And, the more we get into the base platforms and how they work, the greater likelihood of not creating a singular pinch point, that can be assaulted or attacked by some third-party entity. Yeah. Creating proper algorithms, that kind of thing, so everybody's heard. Of course something is popular if it pops up in everybody's feed, even if you only watch it for a second, that means it's 1 second of 4 million people because the algorithm puts it there.
Yep.
I mean, the Chinese government, the algorithm.
Right. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not natural.
So maybe that just needs to change and needs to be more fair and equitable. And then, of course, they try to say that like search engine optimization is so confusing. It's not that confusing. It needs to be more user friendly for the average everyday person that wants to get information out there. In my opinion, so they can get their voice heard. So, these are all things that we can work on. Maybe it automatically takes keywords instead of using keywords to shadow ban people and to censor people. Maybe we can use those keywords as an optimization tool that it pulls from the video that will automatically go into the SEO or search engine optimization, which will then get your video to the top when somebody's searching hurricane in Miami or wherever you are.
Well, that's how most people think it works. That's what we're told is actually happening, but that's not.
Oh yeah, that's not happening.
No, I know.
No, that's not happening unless it's something they want out. If you are on YouTube as an example and you are having a conversation about, Trump as an example, and you are talking positively about this person, right now during election time, that video is going to come up first. Yeah. Everything, all those videos, all those patriot people. And they know it too, because they're flooding, like I said, that whole campaign was designed by Jared Kushner, and it was the most successful social media campaign ever since the advent of social media.
Which campaign are you talking about? An election campaign?
No, just the branding through social media of Trump.
Of Trump. Oh, in general. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jared Kushner put it together. He had hundreds of thousands of people, and then eventually the word on the street is 100 million people worldwide all doing the same thing on various social media platforms. And then the bots. Oh Lord, the bots. I have promoted, everything, with my name on it. It's not me personally, reaching out to members here, reaching out to people on social media, hi, would you like to join the QFS and buy Trump bucks?
Yeah.
Here's the next thing is, I've gotten 9,000 ads for MAGA hats lately. They just keep coming up in your social media feed. Not a chance in this lifetime would I purchase a MAGA hat.
Yeah.
But I don't even talk about MAGA hats, and they just keep coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about they have access to DARPA, 100% certain DARPA. So that means they then had access, when they actually had them, to all the back ends of all the social media platforms. Mm-hmm. They can then program that in as an algorithm to come up first in everybody's feed list.
Wow.
Yep. Now, if you have a TikTok account, you can actually look up when you're posting a video, what is the trending hashtags, as an example. You can do the same thing in Twitter, Instagram, and you could put a hashtag Trump 2024 on your video about making pancakes. It doesn't matter. Then your video for making pancakes will come up.
Yeah.
That's just how it works. But as far as them, they put that tag on everything.
Right.
It's crazy. How it works. It's just the algorithms behind it that need to change in order to effectively say, this is news from my area, or, if you want to do a dance, go do a dance. But, maybe we need to do something about that and kind of think about it a little bit more. And if any of you have any input on that, on how we could change it for the better, obvious ones, no fact checking, obvious things. There has to be some kind of something in place for, we don't want little kids and pornographic materials and doing things like that. We don't need any of that kind of stuff. So there has to be some kind of check and balance in place. But what do you recommend so that people can get real news, not just only through UNN, obviously the best news channel in the world, but, but what do you recommend going forward into the future? Because we're probably a couple of weeks away from actually making some serious changes using some of these base platforms. Right now, we're in the thick of things and in a war. So, but thoughts, opinions, put them in the comments underneath this video. We'll take a look and see what you have to say. If you have a whole plan written up, would love to take a look at it. But seriously, these are the changes that we are making in the world. We're going to do these changes. It's not if, it's not maybe, it's not well. If the deep state goes away, things need to change. And nobody wants to wait. Nobody on this planet, nobody in this country, nobody in that country, nobody in the world, nobody in the universe wants to wait for these dumb humans anymore. So we've all kind of come together, put together some plans. They're obviously going wonderfully today. Unless you're a deep state person, then you're having a bad day. But they're going very, very well. And they will continue to go well over the next few days because it's not going to stop. It's going to be a rapid fire succession of a tearing down of all things that don't work. So
let's go. Let's do it.
I know. We're going. I've been going.
We're doing it.
We're doing it. I did it all night last night. I did it all night this morning.
I think people, we just want to see it like out there. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we know it's happening, but it's like, we just want to see it, see something happen, not just here on UNN and talk about it.
You're seeing changes. if you really look, and as we find those changes in the media, we will bring them to you, like the changes in creation, the floods in the Middle East, more floods in Iraq are happening. There are other areas that are also flooding. The deserts will eventually turn green, just like we said they were going to. There's going to be more to the story coming out. And if we find something that confirms stuff that we say, we'll point it out to you. But again, the mainstream media platform is the only thing I'm kind of teetering on, because if we do, we could be damned if we do and damned if we don't. Are they going to continuously lie to people? What do we do? How do we fix it?
Well, I was just going to say, Kim, the other thing is to somehow, go to whoever, go to these media companies and say, would you like to work on this with us? Or do you not want to exist? Do you not want to have your media license or whatever it is, your ability to broadcast? Because those are your options. So you can work with us or you can go away.
We do have the broadcasting system and the broadcast licensing system and the broadcast management system.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's about free will and choice. So, if something was being held over their head before, or some group or whatever, okay, well, now we're talking directly to you. Would you like to
there
exist?
Might be an option to maybe like start with one, and see what happens. Yeah. That's a good possibility. Will the rest of them fall in line? I don't know. I mean, my goal was with, as far as broadcasting concerned, was to go, sometimes you go from the inside out and the outside in, and that's a Sun Tzu technique. So when you want to get at your enemy, you've got the main broadcasting companies in the middle, and then everybody kind of like, is layer by layer, goes out to like your local media and your local cities and that kind of thing. And it's not just news media, it's all broadcasting channels. So, the further away you get from the center, the more you're looking at the low hanging fruit, so to speak. So from a funding standpoint, we know there's not a lot of funding going down the pipeline from, say, ABC or NBC down to your local news station, ABC News, in small town America or small town wherever. So maybe we devise something, and I'm kind of giving you a little bit of a let's just say a thought, that's come into our mind as far as possible strategies of hitting on the inside. Like you said, take a big one and then start with the outer rim and start having conversations with these people. Because if we're going from the inside out and the outside in, eventually we could have a hope of having some real progress in the world. That's the hope, but of course, in all these cases too, with these people, it's like, money talks and that's what we need to do. So they're looking for funding. They're looking for sponsors. They're looking for, information right now, desperately. We would have to build up quite a bit to be able to have a 24/7 news channel. We would need a lot more staff and a lot more Sunnies.
Right.
We're not into cloning, so don't worry, Sunny, it's okay. But we would need a lot more, and prep time too. It would take several months to pull that together.
Sure.
So, it's something we can do. It's not an impossibility. It's just a reality that, planning, time, equipment, moving people around, getting studios set up, getting, people in different time zones set up. Maybe that's some of our field messengers. Maybe it's Calen from Australia. You don't know. Like it could be, it just depends on what happens. But we do have a strategy laid out. That's part of the reason why we visited the NAB and that kind of thing. And we talked to other broadcasters, see what everybody else is doing out there too. And we were a totally foreign concept to most of those people, from what I heard from you and Mike. They were like, wow, we never thought of that. Like, so. It'll be interesting to see what happens. It's probably going to take a few days. This is not like, this is not fast. This is a war. This is a real war.
A real war, yeah.
We expect backlash. We expect, certain things, but you try to account for everything. It doesn't mean you see everything.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going in rapid succession now because nobody wants to. I just can't even have another conversation about dead people walking around in a mask trying to run a country. I just don't want to hear it anymore.
I know. Yeah.
Yep. Shutdowns are unavoidable. So
okay.
That's pretty much where we're at for Wednesday. I mean, it's good news all around. I mean, big progress on our side of it.
Yeah.
Us being able to manipulate institutions and whatnot after the disappearance of all of their stuff. And take over some of it for ourselves has increased dramatically. Some of the things I just had to wait. There's an advantage to me waiting until this morning, and last night. There's an advantage to that. You can kind of see why. So even though we pulled the platforms, they didn't recognize the fact that that we could do that fast. And change things. So
now they know.
Yeah.
Now they know.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I said now they know.
Now they know.
How fast you can move.
The more
and
you
how quickly
know.
you can do stuff. Yeah.
But lots of progress being made. We look forward to your feedback on social media and how to make it better. Leave out the part about fact checking. That's an obvious, but I mean, if you do have any suggestions on how to make it better and easier for people to use, where content is, being watched and read on merit because people are looking for that information rather than, maybe the latest curling iron or whatever. I guess that's important too, but not because you're an influencer and not because, that kind of thing. It just needs to change a little bit. Yeah. All right. Well, that is the news for, what are we? May 8th. There we go.
May 8th. All right.
Wednesday.
I'll see you back here Friday.
I took your line.
Yes, you did. That's okay. Thank you.
All right. Well, you can go repeat it.
Okay. Sounds good.
Want to share news from UNN? Help us change the face of social media and use it for good. Connect with us through our online channels. Our social media team creates clips from each newscast you can easily share with people you care about. That's also where you'll find our UNN Meme of the Day, a great way to encourage critical thinking. Links to all our social media sites are available at the bottom of our website at unitednetwork.earth. Let's change the face of news together.
And that wraps up today's news update. Please share UNN with your friends and family. We need everyone to come together and help restore our planet. When news happens in your area, record it and share with us so together we can share it with the world. Remember, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I'm Sunny Galt. Join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the real news.